Hey everybody, what is up? Okay, we are doing something a little different. We're gonna switch it up. I am going to be doing movie reviews from time to time, especially that my Gmail storage is so full right now. I'm very, very full, just giving fullness. We're gonna talk about the amazing series, Fleishman is in Trouble. It is originally based on a book. I never read the book, but the book came out in 2019. I think I watched the series about 2 years ago, I want to say. I watched it with my ex, and it was a very big part of our relationship. We thought about it a lot. If I was really going to do this right, I would have got a pork lo mein, but I only have my lobster one. So you can watch this on Hulu, I believe. Hi, welcome in April. We're talking about Fleishman is in Trouble, the series. We can still play our game too. My name is Thea. If you guys want a free gift, all you gotta do is tell me something you love about yourself. I really wanted to talk about this series because it's very big on mental health, and I have kind of started becoming a Jesse Eisenberg stan, which I never thought I would because he played Zuckerberg, and Zuckerberg is on my enemy list. But anyway, I don't love the title. As if I'm correct, Fleishman is in Trouble, or Fleischman. I don't know how you say it. But I like the thing is in trouble, but like Fleischman is such a horrible name. He's kind of he's not a horrible guy. Like, it's funny, my ex used to say like he was really on his side at first and was like, oh wow, his like ex-wife, who's played by like I think Claire Danes. She was Juliet in the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet. Anyway, at first he was like, oh man, like that wife's crazy, like, and he thinks that like, oh, like, you know, maybe we should like sympathize with him. But as the series goes on, you're kind of like, you know, eye twitching, you're like, So I don't like Fleischman as a last name, but you know, that is the book title. I didn't read the book. If anybody read the book Fleischman is in Trouble, let me know, because I want to know if there's any key differences. But anyway, we got Toby Fleischman. He's played by Jesse Eisenberg. He lives in like, I think it's like New York City, from my memory. There's not a lot of other reviews, so we're going off my notes, and I write my notes when I'm watching the TV. So prepare for them to be messy. And this is the first time I've ever done it live. Normally I pre-record my notes, so there's like kind of a level of editing. I've started to like unedit and do raw film reviews just because, for the sake of time. But yes, so basically Toby Fleischman, he lives in the city, and he used to like live with a woman who wanted him, and he's like getting used to, now that he's divorced, like women are into him, right? Which is like, as somebody who's just left a 5-year relationship, such a real thing. Like, you're like, oh, like you were so monogamous for so long, and then you come back into the scene and you're like, I am desirable, and it feels so weird, right? But anyway, he was married to her for 15 years. Cannot imagine. My marriage barely lasted one. But maybe we'll get her on the second one, you guys. Maybe we'll get to up to 15. We'll see. To be determined. And he looks on, like, when they were like younger, you know, it was like they were full of youth and romance, and now it's like rejection, you know. That's what he fears as he's gotten older. And he's always, I think, kind of been, you know, it's like Jesse Eisenberg. Like, every Jesse Eisenberg character is, like, absolutely the same, right? Kind of, like, nerdy and definitely controlling and, like, deeply, deeply afraid of being, like, caught being vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, desperately does not want that to happen at all. So, anyway, Claire Danes comes in. She's in a dark mood, okay? It's giving, like, I don't know if you guys, I think it's not Blue Valentine. It's something else. I'm thinking of something else. But it's the one where, oh my gosh, she's gonna bug me about her name. But anyway, Blue Jasmine. That's what I'm thinking of. It's giving Blue Jasmine, okay? If you've ever seen that movie. And anyway, she comes in and she drops off the kids a day early, which, you know, is kind of wrecking Jesse Eisenberg, Toby Fleischman's game, because he's like, you know, he's on the prowl. He was enjoying his day off. Like, he doesn't want the responsibility of being a father that day. But she didn't want to leave the kids with a sitter for whatever reason. And Jesse kind of gets or rather Toby. I'm gonna switch to the name. So Jesse Eisenberg is Toby. Keep up, you know what I mean? Keep up. So anyway, he gets kind of bullied into it because his daughter is like, she's a teenager, and he kind of is like, oh, you know, like, if I don't accept, like, she thinks that I'm like an idiot, you know? And he's like thinking about, you know, he had sex with his physical therapist, right? So he's thinking about that, and he's trying to arrange all of this because he like works at a hospital. He's like a big time doctor, right? They got money, honey. I mean, you gotta have money to live the way they be living in New York City. Did you see that apartment? You could walk around in it and not bump into anything. And anyway, so he's like getting medicine for the kids, you know, doing all the dad stuff, worrying about, you know, if they need like a specialist in Manhattan too. He like helps a lot of people as a doctor. Excuse me. Oh, noodles down the wrong pipe. If I was truly doing this right, sorry guys, I'm grabbing some cranberry juice. Oh, I would be eating poor like me. I'm thorough so much to a fault. Awesome, Leo son. That's really good. It's good to be thorough. Also, if you guys want to join, also, if it ever pauses weird, that's because I'm screenshotting you guys. But if you guys do want a free gift, I send it to you absolutely for free. I pay for the postage. I am a poor. So if you guys want to help out, liking this live, sharing this live, doing the little tap, tap, tap on the screen, inviting your friends, follow me, all of that helps boost me. But right now I do have at least enough of a savings to send out some free gifts to people, and I want to get them out of my house. So feel free to comment something that you love about yourself, just like Leo did. He's thorough. So is Jesse Eisenberg's character. Right now we are talking about Fleishman is in trouble. I guess it's a book, but it's also a Hulu TV series starring like Claire Danes and Jesse Eisenberg. Anyway, so, you know, he got into medicine. He's like a specialist in Manhattan, but he still feels like his life isn't enough, you know, now that his like wife has left him. Like, he's starting over. It's weird. It's weird when you're doing that. My hair is doing many things today. I apologize. But anyway, so he's trying to believe that his like job and like being a father is like enough of a reward, right? Like that he doesn't feel empty without his wife. It's not working, but we'll get to that. There's a slow build for that. So his other doctor friends like help him get back on the apps, you know what I mean? That's how this all started, with the like physical therapist and everything, having a little, you know, sex. Hi Yanni, how are you? Good to see you, girl. Hope you're doing well. We're doing something a little different today. I'm talking about Fleishman is in Trouble, if you've never seen it. So if you've never seen the series, you guys, there are going to be spoilers also, by the way. I'm absolutely a spoiler film reviewer. But I don't want to go to self-love today. I don't know. I've been up since 3:50 a.m. Very much the vibe of Fleishman is in Trouble. But anyway, so Toby's doctor friends, they help him get on the apps. And then he ends up like missing his kids at one point, like, you know, because it's like a little spicy to be a father on the apps, right? I don't know if there's any fathers on those apps in this live, but you know, it's an interesting journey for sure, especially like balancing like being in the medical field and being recently divorced and like creating kind of this new life. So I absolutely love Jesse Eisenberg's like narration in this. It's very like internal, obviously, as it's a book based on it, and I just really like it. It's giving kind of like Lindsay Lohan Mean Girls vibe, but it's Jesse Eisenberg, right? So it's got that like nervous energy, really fun. So his favorite movie that he like learns from somebody is oh, thank you for sharing the live, Yanni, really appreciate it. If y'all share the live too, that'd be so helpful. But anyway, his favorite movie is The Graduate, which is also such an interesting movie because there's like so many power dynamics in the movie The Graduate. I'll review that one too if you guys are interested in it. And then he is watching some PORN. It's not very, you know, it's not great. And he's got kids in the other room, but he is a now single male, right? We know what they're doing. And he is, I haven't checked my messages, Yanni. I've been traveling, but I will check them soon. I have to go out to the mail. I'm probably not going to get to the post office until next week because it's a super busy week. because I have to go deal with my own DV situation and see if I can like push my restraining order. Yeah, it went through. Thank you for checking so much. I'm so happy that you're here. You love that you're a single mom your whole life. Wow, that's awesome, Stephanie. You screenshot your name, so if it pauses, that way you will know. That way we will know. But it's always easier to follow, so that I'll get it to you. And then I'll just DM you guys for your address, because I don't. Sometimes somebody put their address on here, which is fine. Like, I delete the lives after, but I don't want anybody being creepy to you guys. You know what I mean? Like, let's not. But yeah, so Jesse Eisenberg, you know, he's fapping, and he is like kind of like falling in love with the apps. Like, it's like this one girl has, his like favorite thing to do is the crossword, which is, I can't relate to it all. I hate crossword puzzles, but it's not for me. I love that I care about others more than myself. So kind-hearted. I love that about myself. I love that about you too, Yanni. You are very kind. It shines through. So, kind of Toby's things. Yeah, so true. God is going to send blessings your way. Believe it, and it will be so. 100%. So, Toby is like, the weirdest thing, this is the thing that I remember. There's like a couple details. We'll get to the big spoiler one, hopefully. I'm going to try to make it through. I will ramble on for hours about movies because I'm that wild. And I'm like interacting with you guys in the live as well. So it will be a long one. Hang in there. We're here for a long time and a good time. But yeah, so the one thing that I remember about Fleishman is in Trouble, like when I think of it, right? Think about the television show. Is like they're always like steaming the chicken, veggies. There's like no salt, no oil, like nothing. Like at the most, at risk of sounding racist, like white people food. You know what I mean? Like very, very bland, which haunts me because that's like how my mom used to cook in like the worst years of my life. I honestly love how God is rebuilding me. I'm healing and I went better through not alone reviews of God. That's awesome, Graham. I'm so excited for better through not alone reviews of God. That's awesome. That's so great. Congratulations. All right, back to now. Fleishman is in trouble. So he's like struggling at work. The like insurance isn't working. It takes like 15 minutes, and somebody's yelling at him as a doctor that like he's a doctor that doesn't care, and it like hits him. You know what I mean? Because he's like, am I becoming detached? Like what? Like he wants to be good at his job. Like that's like really important for him, and he realizes that he made a mistake and that he like put a woman on Zoloft when she was drinking, which I guess you're not really ever supposed to mix antidepressants and Zaboos, as if you don't know, now the more you know. And he realizes that there's like a ring around her eye that is life-threatening. So he has to go deal with that. I think it's like copper poisoning is what causes that. We get into a little bit of Grey's Anatomy, right? I feel like that has to be an arc in Grey's. I've never watched all of Grey's Anatomy. Let me know if I should. So he's starting to feel like contempt and bitterness because, his wife was just never really supportive. His wife like hated one of his friends, and one of his friends is Lizzie Kaplan, who I am adoring. I love Lizzie Kaplan. I've been compared to Janice Ian before, and it was one of the best compliments of my life. There's a very much will they, won't they in Fleishman is in Trouble with Lizzie Kaplan and Jesse Eisenberg. I want them to will. I ship them, honestly. I think I ship him and his wife at the same time. Very, very interesting. But his wife didn't like his friend, right? Because there's a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of chemistry. So they are, he's kind of relying on his best friend Lizzie Kaplan to like connect him to new people, like she was doing before even they got married. And she is married to the great and fabulous Ted Mosby, Josh Radnor, in this movie, not in real life. That would be kind of cool. They did make a really good couple, but they seem to just have like a tired marriage. I would imagine being married in New York is exhausting at a certain point. But anyway, they kind of break it down, and it's like, Jesse, you're looking for like a housewife, not somebody who's out of a magazine. And he kind of reflects on like the control that Claire Danes, his wife, had over him, like wouldn't let him pee standing up, right? Like, so he felt very emasculated, and you can really tell in this TV series that he is journeying to kind of find his masculine power, and he kind of goes over the line, right? He doesn't quite strike like a beautiful balance. It would be very hard to find masculine power 100%. So it pretends he's 39, because if you're 49, people think you don't exist, which is like, I don't even know if that's relevant anymore. I honestly feel, I mean, I'm a younger generation, but I feel like 80 is the new old. And even then, you know, like you still maybe have 20 years. But he finds somebody choking, and he like he couldn't like not save them, because he like obviously took an oath as a doctor. And he wants somebody to like know about like the consequences. Like, he doesn't want to get in trouble for all of that. And then they kind of make this joke of like the choking sounded like a sneeze up the VAGG, we're gonna call it today. Making this as friendly for TikTok. This was like, I don't remember what Fleishman Is in Trouble was rated. I don't even know if they rate things anymore. Like, I feel like the rating system is really, really dipping. But anyway, he kind of gets excited by exploring all these other women through the apps and having, you know, relations. And he feels like while he's like, you know, exploring all these different women, he himself is becoming more found. He like has this one girl who was like super into burlesque but she ends up like flashing the kids, which I'm like, you know, red flag that he kind of lets it. He kind of wakes up from just kind of like being in this like man stud face, because he married his wife like pretty soon out of college. Noodle break, sorry. So he didn't really get, and he was like a big nerd in college, right? So he didn't really get that like stud phase exploration type. So he's like having it now, kind of midlife crisis-esque, right? But this one girl who was burlesque, she flashed the kids and is like traumatizes the boy. The daughter's crying and mad. And he tries to play it off as like, oh, she's at the wrong apartment. But they're like, she knew your name. And then he starts to realize that like, you know, the mom is missing, because they've been over at his apartment, and he's getting kind of mad because he like can't do his man things when the kids are around. He can't have his own exploration, but his wife is off doing whatever, and he's so mad about it. And it cuts back a lot to like 1994 with his friends, and when he first like found her, and he goes back to this memory of like where an old woman was cursing rather his unborn daughter. And he's like, I just need to heal the world with kindness, and that will like, you know, assure my future, and nothing bad will happen to him. And he also ends up getting a promotion to kind of do this. And him being a doctor is like such a big part of his life and identity. It kind of shifts throughout the series as he becomes kind of just so, I want to say like enraptured in the bitterness of what Claire is doing, because we don't know where the mom is, so that becomes like the mystery of the whole series of like, where is she, what is she doing, and it's like, why is she just leaving, is she like off flirting and having fun, and it's like not fair. It's like very much about him kind of just like whining about that in the best way. So he finds a place that's like named after antidepressants that don't fear with, you know, the arousal whole thing. And he debunks myths on like alternative forms of medicine. But he does actually like acupuncture because it favors pain relief. And then we have kind of another crisis, which is like normal, happens in all of parenting. He catches his son looking at, you know, PORN, and he is like, you know, he like catches her looking at that, and, you know, doesn't really know how to approach it, because obviously his son saw from when like he was with the burlesque girl, right? And so he tries to make it clear and is like, hey, you know, like, this is a fantasy. It's not really what, like, the actual feeling is like. You know, like, I look at this stuff all the time at the hospital and it's in, like, a different way. But he ends up firing the babysitter because it's like, well, on your watch, my son was looking that up, even though it's, like, his responsibility. So now he's got no babysitter. He's like, he's feeling the pressure, right? He's feeling the pressure. So he starts flirting with the yoga girl who, like, won't reveal her status in yoga. And they're playing, like, hangman, and he's just like, you know what, this just sucks. Like, these kids, like, they deserve a better summer. They're not getting it. I feel trapped. Like, we're gonna go to the Hamptons, right? Because, again, they're rich, right? They're rich. And he reflects on how, like, he loved his wife even when she wanted to get a divorce. And he definitely, like, talks to his son differently than he talks to his daughter. At first, I was like, you need to treat him equal, you know what I mean, in my little lib head for a second. But then the more that I thought about it, I was like, actually, I think it makes sense the way that he talks to his daughter. I think it probably should be different than the way a father talks to the son. Absolutely crushing this cranberry juice. So, I love this silly voice when they're talking about, like, something controversial. But his daughter, Hannah, she doesn't have a phone. And he keeps, like, kind of burying all the people that he's kind of, like, dragging into their life. And instead of calling them, you know, like, people he's dating, he's like, oh, my friend, da-da-da, you know. But he's, like, trying to track down his wife, right? So he's trying to, like, follow her money because I think they still have similar bank accounts. And he also thinks that maybe she's at the Hampton house. So they had somebody looking in at their place. And then he sees that, like, his daughter's with a boy and they're listening to music, which is, like, he's a little concerned, right? Because I think it's, like, he's still behind being, like, is my daughter really, like, dating somebody? Like, what is happening? And so he changes the password with his phone's passcode, and it's, like, still their anniversary. Hi, Robert, how are you doing? We're talking about Fleishman is in Trouble, this series on Hulu. It's my first time doing my film reviews live in this way, so bear with me and the patience. And this one is a heavy one, you guys. So there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, beware. The noodles are actually a bit. I'm glad you're doing well, Robert. Good to hear. Hate anybody doing bad, because I feel like the first part of this year was so rough, and, like, now we're on it up. Now we're on it up, perhaps. I'm at least trying to think more positively. Anyway, he sees somebody. So his phone code is the anniversary, which we can just tell, like, there's a lot to, like, you can tell that even though Jesse Eisenberg's character Toby is just, like, going around meeting with all of these different women and everything, he's not over his wife. Oh, thank you so much, Robert. I've been up since 3:50 a.m., but I use this, like, new skincare routine I, like, mod this live called Skin, and I think that my face feels like I've had plastic surgery, so it's pretty crazy. But I had an audition today for another live stream host, and I got it, so I'm very excited. I'm working on trying to go to the QVC is my dream, so I'm trying to get as much live experience so that I'm ready to deliver. But yeah, so he breaks in to Hamptons and he sees that, you know, somebody is naked in the pool. They've broken and entered into the Hamptons. He's like, what? So, he makes a son who wants to go to ice skating camp. And he's, like, a little bit skeptical about ice skating camp with his son because there's definitely, like, you know, the gender stereotype of, like, he doesn't want his son to do something that's, like, kind of quote unquote girly. Thank you so much for the follow, Robert. Really appreciate you. So he's like, no, you know, with the money, you know, and like, I don't know that you need to participate for that. You should do something, like, more practical, like tennis, right? I think his son is 13. They don't have any social media, which for me feels like very, almost late in the game, but probably for the best. Let me know what age you guys would have, like, your kids have social media. I don't know I think if they wanted it, I would like have a conversation with them. I don't have kids currently, but I'm in love with somebody, so I might have his kids someday. I don't know what will happen. I have like a fertility thing, so I don't even know if it's possible. But I think if my kids wanted social media, I would have them broach the conversation. I maybe thought about creating an account for them so that like they could have it, but I get really worried about like creepy people on the internet having that. And honestly, social media probably should be for kids like that are 18. Like, I don't know that social media should be a place, because you should be outside, you should be touching grass. But I also know it's like such a great bonding experience. So let me know how you guys feel about kids and social media. If you're just joining us, we are talking about Fleishman is in Trouble, which was a book and a TV series. But anyway, his kids are having like a lot of anxiety, like because everyone is on it, especially his daughter, and she's feeling like left out. And he is just kind of breaking down for the pressure. He throws food at his wife's computer at one point, and the daughter starts crying because she thinks like the mom is gone, you know what I mean? Like gone for good, like in the ground gone. And he's just like, no, he like lies to her, even though he's like, that could be a potential possibility because he cannot find her. It's like, oh, it's probably just a little thing, and you know, and she, like, she would be here. She just is like, hates it a lot, you know. And then he finds her napping in a park, which, you know, like he's losing it. And at this point too, you're on his side. Like, you don't really see, you have inklings that he's maybe a control freak. Like, I definitely knew that something was going on with him just from like the way that he was talking about women, but obviously like my boyfriend at the time had no idea. And so he sees her napping at the park, and he like kind of flashes back to when he met her, which was like at this party. He saw her like dump punch with Belgians, and she would never win, and she told him like he would never win, and he's like, well, she warned me, no, though. And he like remembers how like she used to laugh at everything, and it's like really sad to like see her on the park bench. Like, she's definitely not well. Like, you can tell that something is bad. And he flashes back at the time that is like, it didn't really matter that he like waited so long to find love, because like the love that he had was worth it. But at the time, she's like, I don't know if I can love, like, I don't know if you could call it love. I think it's more like pining for you, which I think is like kind of true in him. Like, I don't know that he completely loves rather than like obsesses. I love her glasses in this. I honestly really, really love this character. Like, it would have been goals to play, you know? His wife, Claire Danes, used to work as an agent, which we love a female agent. We don't talk enough about female agents. My favorite is Princess Caroline, of course, but that's neither here nor there. She was called like a late bloomer in the agency. I think her daughter also too. She didn't go to her friends too. She like lied and like went to a show, you know, typical teenager things. But she's like her wife is an agent, and you know, things are working. She's like, sometimes she doesn't see things that in the clients, like, but she still fights for them and like makes it work for them. So she's a good agent. The wife, like, they don't show any smoke with her, but we see like her struggle in her career because her boss hit on her about 2 years ago, and like now she's being punished because she refuted the advances because she's with Jesse Eisenberg's character Toby. So Toby, this is where we see like some of that control. He gets so mad that that boss hit on her, because I think he feels really inferior. Like, he's definitely kind of like the reacher in the relationship with Claire. And he's like, you know, like, you're my girl. And he's like, don't even worry about it. Like, he has no pull. Like, you're a doctor, right? Like, he's just some like a boss at an agency. Like, you're everything. So she yells at him because she feels like he's not patient. Like, this is like one of their first big fights that he's kind of recalling. And he's like, how am I not patient? You know, like, I'm this like doctor, you know, like, I'm used to having like, you know, a lot of patience and stuff, even though I feel like doctors are most of like the most hurry up people ever, because like insurance companies make them that way, right? But anyway, We then flashes back to like reality of like where he is now, and he finds like he goes back and he thinks about like the time that his wife was giving birth, right? And that's also why she was yelling at him about like not being patient, because he's like anxious during the birth, and I think like his anxiety is kind of bleeding in to what she's feeling when she's giving birth. And then the one doctor comes in and ruptures her membrane water without her consent, and he just like goes out of the room, and is like super mean to her, like very terrible bedside manner. This is a different doctor than, you know, Jesse is also a doctor, but this is like another one that they use to deliver the baby, because, you know, like conflict of interest if like he's doing it. I guess he could have, but that's not even his specialty, right? So the one doctor is pretty much like, you can either be a baby or deliver a baby, which like if that were me, if that were said to me on that table, woo, I would not love that. I would not love that. So she is clearly devastated, because it's like, it's in that gray area form of like assault, right? It's not great. It's not a good moment to be in. And this is like one of the few moments where I've said that we had the bland chicken, and then it's this ruptured one. I think about this dilemma all the time of like how doctors invade women's bodies without consent, or really like talking it through. Whiff, you know? Whiff. But it's a really good series if you guys are just joining. Fleishman is in trouble. But yeah, that moment, devastating. Think about it all the time. It resides in the back of my mind. No doctor should ever act that way. And I think that happens like pretty commonly, unfortunately. And it's not something that's talked about. And I have to talk about it in like the weird rigmaroles of TikTok, which is just something. But we're doing it. Anyway, she just kind of like starts attacking Toby, Jesse Eisenberg's character, because she's like, you didn't stop him, right? Like, you're like smiling at him and you're like imitating his behavior, and you like are just as bad as like what he did to me because you didn't stand up and stop it. And Jesse Eisenberg feels like conflicted, right? Because he's in this weird, like, he doesn't want to like embarrass himself in, you know, like a hospital setting, because he wants the respect of other doctors as a doctor himself. But his wife's like freaking the heck out, right? Because she feels violated. And so he is just mad and thinks that like she's maybe lost her mind from this moment, because I think he's like tracing back to like her crazy is always kind of connected to like what happened in this hospital. But it is like, it's like you don't understand when you haven't been violated, right? Like what it's like I mean men can, right? It happens to men too, but you don't know what happens. Like I feel like it sucks when it happens to men, because it's like such even a different feeling, because there's like still the power imbalance, right, of all of that going on. Like it's about like how they gave up their power and that happened anyway. And to women, it's like we never had it and it's always taken, and it's like different. There's similarities, right? There's crossovers. It's not to be like we have different pain, but it's like there's like intense things going on, right? Intense moments of conflict, very, very horrible things. But anyway, she cuts to like reality of like Claire just, you know, sitting on this bench kind of smiling, and is yet still like intimidating, and she doesn't believe in therapy, even though he's kind of like, you should maybe do it, but she also kind of throws it back at him. And they think that it's like for rich people and archaic, even though they are rich people, and they both should got therapy, but it would be a much less interesting show, you know what I mean? So we go back into the past where he's like holding the baby and giving the calming energy, and they like have to get like a nanny for help because she's so broken from this doctor's assault, like is just really, really messed up. And clearly maybe there was like other things going on in the past that this maybe brought up, or even so, I think it's more so that like she trusted Toby, Jesse Eisenberg's character, to take care of her in that moment, and he failed, and it's like it splintered their marriage, right? Like to a way that she couldn't recover from, because he will never keep her safe in that way, and that's like what led to the greater divide. So her job, she basically runs this small theater agency, and she creates a system where like his life is taken care of as she gets better. And she's very much like, you know, money doesn't buy happiness. Like, maybe you shouldn't work as much. Like, be here with me. And she really wants to be, like, more important than work. Which I think is, like, valid for a lot of women. Like, I think that maybe they should be. But I get that it's also men is, like, if you want me to provide and take care of you, like, then I have to prioritize work. Like, I have to in order for you to be protected. She got that dynamic going on in all of this as well. They start fighting in front of friends, right? Never good. We love being a toxic couple. We love being super embarrassing like that. Noodle break. Because I can no longer eat one meal a day for sure. I need to eat more. My boyfriend likes a belly, so love that. Yeah. And then I think she like leaks it because she's in this theater agency. And she, like, leaks that it's, like, oh, it's Sam Rockwell, but she was supposed to keep it general and just say, like, celeb or whatever, which I thought was fun. But anyway, he reflects that it's, like, kind of a cosmic punishment. He's like, maybe if I had been there, you know, for her in the way that she needed when all that happened, this wouldn't have happened. Because she ends up hooking up with Sam Rockwell. But to be fair, he said I was a cowboy, and like I understood her interest. I understood her needing to do it. Like, and she definitely, like, I feel like unfortunately her and Toby's character, they love each other very much, but they also like repress each other, which is not very, very great. But anyway, his wife, you know, had hooked up with Sam Rockwell, and now she's like napping at the park. Two different vibes. Both I weirdly want to be on. And he had to like pretend and like suck all of this up and like tell about like a liver transplant and pretend like his marriage was normal, but his wife is super sick, right? Like, so he's going and like delivering these news to patients, but his wife is like sick on a bench, not coming home with the kids, and he's like now not even you know, like they're not together. Sorry, my boyfriend's just telling me he enjoyed the Minecraft movie and it was special. Tell me he's together. Sorry, my boyfriend's just telling me he enjoyed the Minecraft movie and it was special. Tell me he's autistic. Sorry, I'm back. I'm obsessed with that man. I'm like literally in love with him. I'm gonna have his babies. It's fine. I'm totally good. He's in Canada. This is so wild. Very different vibe than Fleishman is in Trouble, which is about a dissolution of a marriage. And you would think it would make me scared of marriage, but I'm like, no. We're going to be so different, and it's gonna be great. But just saw the Minecraft movie, and he loved it. And I was like, tell me you're autistic. You know what I mean? I played like Minecraft, I think, one time, and then he showed me like a horrible Minecraft meme, which was like super, super bad races. We weirdly laughed at it because we're horrible. But it was just so out of character. I was like not expecting that at all. But that's pretty much all my history of Minecraft in the middle of this Fleishman is in Trouble video. But anyway, so he's like going and kind of starting to lose his mind now because it's like it's like a weird position to like, okay, here's the mother of your children who's severely mentally ill, but you hate her because you're divorced from her. And so he's in his house and he's like seeing all these memories, and he sees like weed and tea and beef lo mein everywhere, and he's like, see, she's like the crazy person, not me. Like, I was always accused of being like obsessive compulsive, like OCD, and it's not fair. And you know what, she's never gonna see the children again because this house is like disgusting. He's just like he's mad, you know what I mean? He found her on a park bench. He's not having it. So he goes to see the lawyer, and he's really excited because the lawyer is kind of in favor of Jesse, you know, so he's like, yep, I'm gonna win this case. I got it all in the bag. It's all Gucci. Like, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get the kids and I'm gonna be done with her, and then I don't even have to worry. But you could tell deep inside, like, he still loves her, right? He still loves her. So he's super worried. And he can't let it go. So he like yells at somebody for like smoking in the park too, which is also like in a weird way a sign of his love, because it's like Claire's going in that park and she doesn't like smoking or whatever, and it's like, you know, he's like still protecting her even though they're done, but he can't let it go. He can't let her sit there. He's like angry at her and hates her and wants her to sit there, right? But he can't let it go. But she's not moving. So he flashes back to the party where they're like, oh, people are central casting and not real at a party, which I love. I laugh at that so much. So if you don't know, central casting is like one of the extras, like a way that you can be an extra in a movie. And he sees this one friend who has this like super cool house in life, right? So he's starting to get like kind of jealous, like, because his life is, you know, a bit in shambles. He's in like an apartment in New York, and he's not having a very good time, because his ex-wife is crazy, and he doesn't know what to say to the kids, and they're at summer camp they don't like, and it's just like messed up, right? And he asks, you know, his one friend, he's like, why am I unlovable, you know? And he's like, hey, I'll go with you. Like, everybody wants to just know if you're like okay, right? Because they can tell like something's going on. Like, he's cracking, right? He's under a lot of pressure. It makes sense why he's cracking. So he didn't want to go home and be alone. Like, that's a lot of information. Like, I don't know what I would do if I saw my ex-husband like crazy on a bench. Like, I think I would want to talk to him. Like, I haven't seen him. He ghosted me, and I have not seen him since. Like, I think I saw him on Twitter once here or there. But, yeah. I'd yap that man's ear off. I would want to know. I don't think I would. There's a time I would have been so angry to approach him. I get the feeling, though. Like, I can really relate to Jesse's character in this, because it's like, I want to scream at him, right? Like, I would want to say all these mean things, but I think at the end of the day, I would also just want to be a person to him and be like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you doing? Like, what happened? Can we just go back to like before we ever got married and we were palsy wows, you know? Like, what is going on? So he has this weird dream, you know, coming from that, all the emotional background that this like patient comes and has like sex with him, and then says, this is your incision. I think it's the patient with like copper eyes. He has like a weird like fantasy about it, which I don't know, dream interpreters come in on that one. To me, obviously I'm not the most expert dream interpreter. I always look him up, but I would say like, I think it's about his need to help the vulnerable and how he takes power in that. Like, he wants to feel very powerful, and as he's not like a super like macho masculine guy, he kind of goes for women who are weak and like need him as a doctor and healer. So he goes into that, but the dream is kind of like an interpretation of like, so he goes for the people who are weak, right? But their hurts him in a way because he can't fix them, and what he really desires is someone steady and normal, because he himself is broken inside. Anyway, deep dive on that one. Not personal at all. So he starts eating at a bar because he's for the first time alone and not a family of 4, right? So he hasn't been able to do that for like several years. And so he starts hooking up with this like girl who kind of accuses him of being kind of this like conservative news guys. And, you know, she's like, you know, this is not all free. Like, you need to like show up for dinners. Like, you need to, you know, be here. And his one friend kind of explains to him, you know, that like she's worried about him. Like, he needs to be present, right? That's what she's saying, is like, you need to show up. Like, my advice is not free. You need to like be my friend as well. Like, I'm not just here to like be your therapist, you know, like, we're friends, right? So there needs to be some more stuff at this, you know, like, it's not just all about you. But what you're feeling is really valid, because just because you're divorced doesn't mean you're not married, right? Marriage is forever in that way. And I thought that was really profound. So anyway, he gets a dog, and Lizzie Kaplan is like working on this book the way I would read a Lizzie Kaplan book, without hesitation, you know? And I feel like he doesn't know his friends. And that's like kind of the point about his self-centeredness. Thank you so much, Little, for following me. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate it. It helps so much. And if you guys could like and share this too. We're talking about Fleishman is in Trouble. Such a good series. If you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. Jesse Eisenberg, Claire Danes, Ted Mosley, Joss Radnor's in it, Lizzie Kaplan. But anyway, so Jesse Eisenberg is kind of like so connected and so like self-involved, which you like really do become in your divorce, because it feels like an ending of a world, and in a way it like absolutely is, right? So he feels like he doesn't really know his friends, and like that's kind of the point of like he's like self-absorbed and so like detached that he doesn't really get what's going. So he sees this one guy who got fired. His like one friend got fired for like looking at a team because of his like nightlife, and Monday did this. What would you do if he said he would do who? I don't know what you mean by that question. I'm unclear, sorry. But anyway, they talk about how like love means you never say you're sorry, but to me that's like divorce. I feel like divorce means you never say you're sorry. Love, I think you apologize anyway, but that's just me. And his one friend is like, you know, I have to like apologize all the time. And it's revealed like, you know, Lizzie's kind of irritated because she feels like Jesse's not like as passionate about her book release. Like she's been this men's magazine, like always this assistant, and it's like now finally like come through. I love that she's obsessed with Christian Slater, because samesies. So my favorite Christian Slater fact is Tubinator. I know, I still don't understand Desi, so sorry. But yeah, I love that Lizzie's obsessed with Christian Slater. I'm also obsessed with Christian Slater, and I know that he gives blood, so it's so wild to think about like somebody who's walking around with Christian Slater's blood. Like I think that's one of my favorite facts to think about sometimes. So weird. But anyway, Lizzie is like angry and has like a lot of urgency in like writing this book. And meanwhile, Jesse's like so like distracted, like misspells name, is like not having conversation. And Lizzie is just like losing her stuff because she's worked at this one magazine for like 15 years and she's not moving forward. And it's frustrating because she's like, she can't be a man, which is like what would help her get through. And no one will read what she writes unless it's about a man. Which is like, I think, a very relatable female writer struggle, like to this day. Anyway, then Toby goes to pick up his kids from the camp, and she finds out that his daughter Hannah took this picture with a phone that she shared with a young man, which is like suggestive, right? Like the camp kind of tells it her. And that kid shared with his friends, but he doesn't get in trouble. Oh, I got so mad about this. Oh, Lord, I'm still heated. He didn't get in trouble. Kid who shared the photo didn't get in trouble, but she did. They should both get in trouble, first of all, maybe. I don't even know if she should get in trouble, because did he manipulate her, right? I have so many other questions. I want women to be blameless always, you know? Oh, absolutely I'm on the spectrum, Jason. I mean, I'm not officially diagnosed. That's totally fine. Like, I'm this obsessed with film. I think I've been chatting for like 2 hours about Fleishman is in Trouble. But yeah, I'm absolutely probably on the spectrum. Sometimes it's so hard to tell. Yeah, I don't think I can afford a $3,000 autism test. Yeah, I mean, it feels like mine is, I've always been a weird kid, but I don't have like a regular background. So like my dad was a drug dealer who wasn't in my life, and I think it shows, you know, like I definitely have daddy issues. I have daddy issues in like a weird way. But I do think that Because, okay, so biologically, it's kind of the expectation of a baby to be held by its mom and parent, right? Like, its mom and dad. Sorry, I'm going to get some cranberry juice. That's so funny. I'm gonna take a picture of this comment because that actually parent, right? Like, its mom and dad. Sorry, I'm going to get some cranberry juice. That's so funny. I'm gonna take a picture of this comment because that actually... I have always felt like, I don't know, maybe if I had like a regular, like my mom and my dad held me as a baby, I would maybe not be autistic. I don't know. I was traumatized very young too. I like suffered a lot of SA very, very young, like at 1 and 4, right? 4 was like a group 1. So it was horrible. And I didn't really realize until I was 13, and then it kept happening, still keeps happening. It's very dangerous to date, and I want love. So we're in such a fun little bit there. But yeah, I don't know that I am. My boyfriend immediately thought that I was. So, and he's definitely autistic. So, yeah. I don't think he's diagnosed either, but he's autistic. But I also hate to just say that. So, I'm always a little bit fierce. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, like, I don't have a diagnosis and, like, assume I'm autistic. Like, I should go get one. But, I've always had weird sensory issues when I was, like, a baby. They had to like strap me in to the car seat. It makes life hard. That's all I'm saying. It makes life super hard. I just spilled cranberry juice on my iPad. Oh no. Don't judge me, guys. I'm doing so well. It's going very, very well. But yes, potentially on the spectrum. We don't know. Should I go on Love Is on the Spectrum though? Would they pay for my autistic test? I don't know. But anyway, back to Fleishman is in trouble. Taking a break. Definitely Jesse Eisenberg's character is like giving autism for sure. Maybe even Claire Danes. Maybe everybody. Everybody in here is autistic in Fleishman. Taking a break. Definitely Jesse Eisenberg's character is like giving autism for sure. Maybe even Claire Danes. Maybe everybody. Everybody in here is autistic in Fleishman. I got lonely and wanted to check that my boyfriend hadn't texted me because I'm obsessed with him in very silly, like autism obsessed for sure. Anyway, so Hannah doesn't get in trouble, which is so stupid, right? So dumb because she took the picture. I'm sure the boy coerced her. Maybe it didn't, but also like she was exposed to because of Toby's like dating things. Like it's a very complicated issue and it makes me so mad that the boy doesn't get in trouble and she does. It would absolutely go down that way, right? Like I'm not surprised because that's the world we live in. But, you know, so irritating. Anyway, his parents are in Switzerland, so he can't go. So he can't leave the camp. She has to. And she's, like, crying. And the camp counselor doesn't even care. Like, it's just like, it's fine, whatever. And he just, like, hugs her. And it's honestly a very good dad. Like, he doesn't shame her. Like, I think my stepdad would have laid into me if anything that had happened. I'm also, like, it's crazy the amount of, like, pictures that I was sending that were inappropriate like that when I was younger. And we did not have the conversations, right? Because I'm, like, 29. So, a little bit before we started having, like, internet stuff like this. But, yeah. And he said, this is, like, one of my favorite moments of the series, too. Of, like, he tells her, you know, like, you're not always gonna feel this way, like the shame that you feel, like it's not gonna be forever. And it's like a really good moment. It's almost like what I wish he had said to his wife, you know, when she had been violated. It's like he kind of learned too late, but he like fixes it with his child, and there's beauty in that, right? There's beauty in healing from that. So she goes, one day, you know, everybody's gonna see that kid is like not a good kid, right? That he's a POS, and that, you know, he is worthless. Like, I hope you know that. Like, because no good man would, like, share your nudes like that. Which, like, straight up, like, real talk, right? And she's like, are you going to tell mom? And he's like, I don't know, you know, like, I don't know if it's what's going on with your mom for, like, the foreseeable future. And he's just, like, he's starting to unravel, oh, Toby. He's, like, questioning the survival of divorce. And Lizzie's like, you know, she's also thinking about a divorce. And he's like, see, like, you know, see again, we're still acting like we're both married, you know, and they say sorry. And Hannah, like, wants them to be reunited, but she's like, Jesse's like, I don't think so. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen if we can get married again. Like, sorry, like, I just don't think that everything's gonna happen. And I know it would be better if we weren't divorced, but, like, we are, you know, like, it's happened, it's done, and, like, this is the new family dynamic. And then they sing Fight Song together, which is kind of silly. But we'll allow it. And he just kind of beats himself up because he's like, man, like, I thought I was protecting you, sending you to camp, but that didn't really happen. And he, like, realizes that he feels good with his friends, but when he's alone, he starts to feel all bad again. And then we see that, like, there's another guy that wants to, like, his one friend wants to go propose to Vanessa. And he's like, you know, I'm getting older and I'm not settled and I want to, like, belong, you know? And I think Toby feels really shocked by this because this friend was always, like, his, like, party friend, and now he's settled and, like, he's not, and, like, what are the friendship dynamics in that, right? Like, what is going on? And he's like, you know, like, just because you're married, that doesn't mean, like, it's gonna be forever, right? He, like, kind of puts him down as, like, kind of negative because he's, like, tripping, right? He feels now outbested by his man, and I think he got, like I said, like we talked about before, like, because Toby's kind of more of a soft boy, he feels insecure in his masculinity. And, yeah. But he's like, you know what? Like, no matter what with the marriage, like, you know, you still have a family even with at the end of the divorce. And Toby kind of reflects on that of like, yeah, I guess I do. Like, and like Claire is a part of my family in a way. So he asked Lizzie, who's married, to go out publicly, but then she isn't. And he's starting to take a lot of personal days. So his job is like, we're going to outside hire, right? So now he's really, really kind of starting to fall apart, right? Because he was so defined by his job. And he's like, you know, it feels like my wife is like brain dead. They're like talking to a social worker. And he then asks this nurse who works out for him, you know, like he tries to like, he makes it, it's bad. It's a really bad choice. It goes real south real fast, you guys. He asks this nurse who works for him because she says that she's like admires him, and he takes it the wrong way, right? But like in the workplace, right? To office romance, and a romance that was not happening when he was just like, when she had respect for him, and then now, oof, yeah, that's such a cringe moment. And yeah, because she had caught on, and she's like, I admire, and I can kind of see why he thought that way. And he's so vulnerable right now. Like his wife is like, his ex-wife is freaking out. You know, he's stuck with the kids, doing it by himself, which he's never really had to do. And he now is. He's like kind of having feelings for his one friend who's married. His other friend is getting married and like settling down when normally he was like the party friend. So it's all sorts of weird for him. And so when this, you know, coworker says like, I admire how you never lose yourself. And, you know, even though he is like clearly losing himself, it's wrong, but it's just like what he wants to hear, right? He then asks her out for dinner, and then she like turns him down. It's super embarrassing. Anyway, she's like, oh my gosh, she didn't want it. Like now I'm boss and I'm terrible, and like everybody is gonna hate me. Like he's 100% spiraling, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. Like maybe these jokes that didn't kill at this party will kill at this one. And then the one woman and daughter come for the kids' party. And he's like taking a furniture quiz, and he gets mid-century modern, which I honestly, one of my favorite furnitures, but I don't think that is him at all. I feel like he's very like sterile green, you know, like gray, white, like maybe some plants, maybe a few plants, honestly, very few plants. And he kind of admits that he's like being with people because he likes their potential, but it's not necessarily, it's not like settling down. And Ted, honestly, Mr. Josh Radnor, he kills it in this role. He definitely kills it in this role because he's like really good at playing this broken that I honestly feel like we didn't see in How I Met Your Mother, and maybe he's kind of gotten some more chance. We have moments where we saw him broken, but he's like real broken in this. Like he got here. Oh, thank you so much for the rose. I really appreciate that. That was so sweet of you. Thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh. During Fleishman is in trouble. Oh, thank you. Oh my. I love getting gifts. That really makes me, I never expect them. I'm always like, because it's really like expected from, I have like an agency I work with. That's why I'm going live like this. Normally I would do this stuff like on YouTube and stuff. So I'm trying something new, and I need to just get rid of, I've got so many like notes and things that are just taking up space in my like digital storage. And the more films I review, the more new films I can review. And I have like over 200. I'll have to start like doing my podcast on here as well, but stay tuned. But anyway, Josh Radnor, so good. Thank you so much for the heart. Oh my gosh, you are being so kind. Anyway, Josh Radnor, so good. Slaying the game. And he reflects on how, you know, like, it's her favorite night. Hi, Ben. How are you? I hope you're doing good. We're talking about this show, Fleishman is in Trouble, and we'll have spoilers. I don't know how old you are, but it's on Hulu. It's kind of a dark one. Like, I really, really like it. Glad you're doing good. Glad you're doing good. But anyway, so Josh Radnor opens up and is like, you know, it's my favorite night of the year, and you, like, hurt my feelings. And do you want to leave? Like, and she's like, I don't want to. I just want to, like, relive my glorious youth. If you like kind of, like, sad psychological thinkers and, like, kind of, like, sad romance stuff, I would recommend Fleishman is in Trouble for sure. Lizzie Kaplan's in it, Josh Radnor, Jesse Eisenberg, Claire Danes. Like, it's a very, very good cast, and it's a very good story. It's based on a book. It's very layered. But anyway, Lizzie Kaplan stops thinking about, like, leaving Josh Radnor because she's like, you know what, we have a nice life. And she, like, stands there with the cigarette, and she's like, you know what, I've been, like, a bitch to my husband, but he never talks about anybody but himself. Like, I think she feels very just, like, overwhelmed by men, working at a man's magazine, and then, like, going home to a husband, right? Like, she's feeling, like, meh. And she's like, the other friend that they were with is, like, kind of done, is not seen as, like, serious, because it's like, oh, it's kind of a joke that you're with this, like, young girlfriend, and, you know, you're not telling me about your job or anything. And then she, like, goes to pee, but she's not divorced, right? But there's this weird lingering tension between her and Toby. So they talk about this, like, harmonica guy that lives in Scarsdale, and, you know, he was all alone out there, and the same day, like, they broke up, and she just complains about her life. Like, she's like, I don't want you to be like this. I don't want to be like this. I don't want life to be like this. And then they both fall asleep next to each other, right? So, like, the tension. They're both friends, right? They've been friends for years, friends to college. But they're both now in the same bed as sort of seeing, I mean, she's not divorced. He is, but it's, like, a weird, you know, it's a weird situation. Very relatable. I've been kind of in a similar one. Anyway, so he wakes up in the night, which is also kind of awkward because his son wet the bed, and, like, she's there, right? And so she comes in and is like, hey, don't worry, like, Miles wets the bed too. You're, like, not alone. And then he, like, yells at her, which is, like, so wild and kind of out of control. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And, you know, he's mad because she, like, started parenting her kids, and I feel like kind of crossed the line over. Even though she's, like, she had the right motherly instincts that, like, her kids have been deprived of because, like, Claire Danes lives in her mind on a park bench right now, you know? And so he, like, blows smoke so that, you know, the wife would know, like, where he had been. And he goes and finds her, and she's got, like, a bagel on her head, and she just is, like, being super vague, like, literally is clearly having a mental breakdown. I mean, it's really hard. Divorce is, like, such a hard thing. I was not myself when I went through my own. And she, like, calls Toby her friend, and she doesn't talk about the kids, and, like, asks about Toby's friends. And her house is really messy, and there's a lot of sad music. There's no used coffee. And he's just, like, has, like, an honest moment of sincerity with her. Like, before he's been so angry, but he finally, like, breaks into, like, the concern. Like, you see, like, the love that he has for her. And he's like, really, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And he offers her tea, but she's not opening up to him. She won't talk about the problem. She's lost trust from him since the moment that one, like, assault happened. And she's like, you know, I really want you to be honest, but I can't make you coffee right now. Like, I'm just feeling really busy. That's awesome. I'm so glad you like your nose job. How was it? I'm so glad you like your nose job. How was it? Was it? I took a screenshot of your name right now, but just to make sure, because sometimes TikTok has a lot of people with similar names, and I cannot find you just by your name alone. So if you follow, it's easier because it'll pop up. But ultimately, up to you. I'll give like 5 stuff to give away. But yes, enjoy your new nose. It's really good. You got that. It's good to make yourself look how you want to look. Anyway, and we're talking about Fleishman is in trouble. And again, you guys, if you want to be like Spicy Mama, you just have to tell me something you love about yourself and follow me, and I will mail you a gift. I'll DM you after the live, or you can DM me as a reminder. That's always super, super helpful. But anyway, he always thought it was weird that she like wanted to go out with her boss, who was like, you know, hanging around her and wanting her, and he like, and wanting to like book his nephew always, and like, you know, getting too into Gotham. Oh, that's such a cool, you're the host of, that's like amazing. Are you from Michigan? I have family in St. Clair in Detroit. That's super cool. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine hosting a puppy bowl. That has to be like a really fun thing. How'd you get a gig like that? That's amazing. Anyway, back to Fleischman's in trouble. We are obsessed with Spicy Mama's life, apparently. Yeah, you're new by Detroit? That's cool. Is it cold over there? It's gotta be. Anyway, yeah, if you're just joining us, y'all, we are talking about Fleishman is in Trouble, which is a book and also a series on Hulu. I've not ever read the book. I haven't seen a book. I haven't seen the book either, honestly. I haven't seen the title. Oh, it's cold? Well, I hope you're staying warm, or if you like it cold, stay in the temperature that you like, Spicy Mama, and thanks for joining the live. Anyway, so Jesse is trying to figure out, you know, like, how to get into private school applications with the family, and, you know, like, they're doing all this, like, formality, and he remembers, like, getting kind of irritated by his ex-wife's rich friends, you know, who are, like, always doing Pilates, and, like, you know, they're hanging all the time, and, like, she's, like, just partying and living this life while he's working this, like, hard full-time job, and he reflects on, like, her mother had died of cancer, unfortunately, and she was, like, a single mom. She went to, like, Catholic school, but he was Jewish. And they all, you know, they still all knew each other. But she had felt like she was, like, an outsider and full of, like, desperation. And she didn't have, like, proximity to money at all. And she liked that Toby couldn't hear her accent, right? We start to see, like, her side of the love story. And her grandmother raised her terrible, and she was too young to, like, not have a mom. She still feels like an orphan, and she just cries. And she was, like, pretending it was okay for so long that she didn't have a family. And then when she finally builds her own, she thought she was okay, but she wasn't, with all of the, you know, with, like, what happened with the assault, and I think just, like, it triggering all of, like, her younger stuff, too. And she said, like, I needed to keep them away. Like, I've felt this, like, 5 or 6 times before in our marriage, you know? Like, I didn't want that induction. Like, you really let me down, like, not protecting me. And I really needed you to, like, see what was going on in there. Because it hurt me, you know? It hurt when that happened. It physically hurt. It emotionally hurt. And it's horrible, right? And it's, like, he wouldn't explain that it was an exam. And, like, she felt like her husband should know. And, like, at the very least, he could have been there and explained what he was doing and, like, calmed her down. But this guy had no bedside manner, and he did that to her. And that was her introduction into motherhood, right? She, like, lost her own mother and then is, like, violently thrown into this world. And it's, like, she's traumatized, you know what I mean? She's absolutely traumatized. And she's like, I just feel like I was, like, weird and just trading a doll and doing all of that. And then, like, you would just go to your friends, but, like, I felt like I couldn't even have friends because I'm going through this experience. Like, how do you talk to anybody about this? And, you know, I can't bounce back from this. Like, there's no bouncing back. And I'm just like thinking about like finding a window. I'm feeling so crazy since my like kid was born, and this should be like a happy time of my life, right? So I'm feeling like conflicted that I'm not like celebrating motherhood, that I'm in this like postpartum depression. And she's like, my me time is where I just cried. Like, that's my version of fun right now. Like, it's that bad level of depression. And she like doesn't smile. And, you know, when she talks to the one woman, they're like, you know, like a lot of moms go through this, like you're traumatized, and we're going to find, you know, your way through this issue and like figure out what the root of like the right issue that you're dealing with. And she just like cries and screams, and it's such a powerful moment. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. It's like a heartbreak. You're gonna cry when you get to that episode. It's like so good. And then she's in the elevator with the guy that did that, which is like, it always happens, right? You have this big healing moment, and then the universe is like, did you truly heal? I'm gonna throw this to you. Did you really heal? You got this. And she didn't say anything, but she realizes like, you know, she was a victim, and she's also like, she doesn't want to live there, so she's not a victim. And she just starts to kind of have this like fit, and Toby is just like such a dingus to her at there, and he's like, you know, comparing her to other mothers, and like, you know, like if you want to be a better mom, you should have like your own self and be friends with other moms, have those friendships. And then she kind of like falls in love with this other guy because he's like, you know, she come home being shamed after all of this trauma that she can't even tell her husband and really like open up to, because she's afraid of what he's going to think. So she like starts making out with this one guy, and, you know, they thinks about like wanting a third. And then Jessie like throws in like, while she's having this affair, like having maybe a third kid. And then she thinks about like having to go on maternity leave for her career. Like she can't really get it started, so she's stressing with that. And she's like feeling the tug between being like a stay-at-home mom and a working mom, which like that is a hard, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think if I was going to be a mom, I would really want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like I've worked, and I feel like I got the experience now. And I would find things to do that like, you know, that I could do with my kids. Like I would hope I would still do like social media with them, but it's going to be interesting if they're younger. But yeah. Anyway, she just feels like Jesse Eisenberg's character, Toby, doesn't get her, because it's like, you know, a mother is like the hardest job in the world, and she doesn't even have her own mother to like question things about, right? Or even have the support of having a mother help raise those kids, right? That's so lonely. She's like, it's the hardest job in the world, having like an actual job and then being a mother too. And she's like, nothing is easier. Like everything is just stranger, and nothing is becoming easier. And then your friends come and you're gone in a minute, like you're not even here. Because I think he's also kind of in love with Lizzie Kaplan's character. And she feels like she doesn't even have time to get a divorce. That's why she like kind of just sped into this one affair. And she's just like, she felt so abandoned by him. It was like too big of a wound. And so she has sex with this guy on a couch, you know. Because she's split. Like, she's just done. And she temporarily leaves Toby to see him. Like, she likes, you know, the attention from him. She's getting what she's not getting in her marriage. And I don't even think she wants to get in her marriage, because she's so disappointed that Toby didn't protect her, right? Like, I think it really, really broke her trust. So she started to love work because it would become something that happened at work. And I can't imagine, like, kind of like watching this, right? Like looking back and thinking about it. It's just a lot. And I like related to it too, because it was very complicated, but I kind of had like an affair with my ex-business partner. And it was really, so this episode like really hit me of like where you're mad at your current partner. Like there's stuff that you can't talk about with them because you don't feel ready for it yet. And they're not willing to talk about it, and they don't get it, and there's not the words and times, but you need to talk about it, but you're scared to break up because you still love them, but you also like, you need somebody else for a time, because I think some people aren't monogamous, or not meant to be monogamous for each other, like, and probably should have just broken up. And like, life is complicated, right? Like, we were sharing a lease at my time, and like, they're sharing a lease, they're sharing children, so it's a lot. And she was like, she starts to become only happy when she's with this person that she has an affair. This broke me at the time because this was like very recent after all that had happened. Now I honestly kind of, I became friends with my ex-business partner, but now I kind of like hate him in the same way. So it's very complicated for sure. And she's kind of losing her mind because she's like, I have to choose between like love and acceptance. And she starts like looking at all these nose pads and she's like, you know I'm like free to do what I wanted. And so she like wants to move to LA, but she doesn't want to talk to him because she has like a lot of terror. But she wanted to expand to an LA office instead of shop and be there for a while. And it would take longer than the summer to move there. And he's like, Jesse, who's like taking all this in, is like really like, are you going to come back or are you going to leave the kids? Like, what's happening? And she's like, I'm going to just take the kids. And he's like, no, I'm going to sue you. Like, that's not going to happen. And she's like, I just need a change because like the affair person didn't work out. And she's like, I can't like keep living here. Like I'm haunted by this place. You know what I mean? Which is so relatable. Like I'm traumatized here. Like I need a fresh start. And she's like, please don't make this ugly. Please let me go to California. And he's like, no, you're not taking the kids. Like they're mine. And she's just like, I don't even think you noticed if they're gone. And he's like, yes, I did. And I would. And it's, I would feel awful. And then he just says like, that what she would do taking those kids would be like just like the meanest thing ever. And he just like says all these mean things to her, like literally like verbally like breaks her down. That's true. That's very strong to know. I think a lot of men like breaks her down. That's true. That's very strong to know. I think a lot of men that about herself. If you guys are just joining, we were talking about Fleishman is in trouble. I still have so many notes to go, but yeah, we're on a pivotal episode. We're kind of like Claire Danes' perspective. Anyway, so she's like, you're taking this like so personal with the guy I had an affair with. Like all I did was have sex with them, like, and he's like, if you wanted to like relax, you get a massage, like you could do edibles. It was like very romantic and you could just hallucinate all night to relax. Like you didn't have to do this. Like you should just stay away. But he gets all mad too because he's very like anti-weed and she's like, doing it. Thank you so much for the follow, Foot. Really appreciate you. And he doesn't like want, to have cannabis or any of that. Like it's not good. And she's just like, you know what, like, just go home now. Like, it's good. Like, and she feels like her breath is caught in the same place as when she was traumatized. And, like, and it's in the same place as that scream. And she, like, can't trust him. And the one woman is, like, trying to walk her through the scream. And she's like, no one can hear you. You have to scream. And she really yells. Like, it woke up my cat. She yelled so hard. And she just had to, like, let it out. Like, it kind of reminds me of those TikTok videos where they're at Thailand, right? And they're like letting it out. It was very similar to that, like, but almost like the Goop Gwyneth Paltrow version, right? So anyway, she screams about like Hannah needing love and acceptance and Sully to be himself. And she screams about her mom and screams about like Toby leaving her in a way, like to get hurt. And she screams that, like Sam Rockwell was taking Ambien and that it was making her say like crazy things in her sleep and like was messing with her mind, right? She was just like kind of in a bad thing. And then Toby's in this predicament, like he doesn't want to leave her in the state, right? But he certainly doesn't want to be here with her. But he decides not to do it for 2 days. And, like, here they are, like, there goes another one, divorced. And she just feels entirely alone. And she just took measures to make sure that, she she's not alone, she's not unlovable. And that's what like Toby keeps assuring her, you know, it's like people were asking for her and she's like, I just had to throw my phone away. Like I could not be by my phone. Like I would not be able to sleep when it would just like always go off when it was nearby. And she's like, I had to like leave this hotel and I kept ordering beef lo mein and I hate it. And this is like the third thing I always remember is like this beef lo mein everywhere where she would just like throw it up. And then I realized that both of them have an eating disorder, like him with his like super clean eating and her with this like beef lo mein thing. And she like was only living in sweatpants. And she goes to see Hannah and she doesn't feel like she has like a chance, you know, to stand a chance. And like Sully has this weird dream and she like kisses him, you know, like hasn't been around for kids for a while and is like coming back. And then she gets like all messed up about, you know, a dream that she had about her assault and everything. And she feels like she can't move and she's just stuck. And she's like, I have to go to LA. Thank you so much, Drake and Scott. I really appreciate you saying that. That's really, really sweet. We're talking about Fleishman is in Trouble right now, which is a series that we're almost done. I see the bottom of my notes. So exciting. Thank you guys for being here with me. And yeah, appreciate you. So she started sleeping in the park bench with her friends. She doesn't do any of the like Coca-Cola cane with them. And she was just taking some me time. And Jesse's like furious because like you took weeks of me time. Like what? This is not normal. You're not in a position to do that. And she's like, yeah, I'd come in front of like your apartment and you just like, you know, you started yelling at me. And he's like, he is yelling at her. And in some ways he's right. Like she is like not necessarily in a position to have a mental breakdown, but I also like get it, you know what I mean? Like sometimes unfortunately you're not in a position to have a mental breakdown and you have one anyway. Like that just is what it is. But anyway, Toby's being like honestly so harsh with like everything she's going through. So he starts searching for her. They go to like an actor's house. They haven't heard from her. It's 7 a.m. He's scared that like she's gonna go out of town and like they'll never see her again. And the lawyer who called her like back wasn't returning, and she calls Matt, but he's not going to represent her. She like disappeared and worked too hard to like let it all fall apart. And Toby just 100% doesn't care about her nervous breakdown. He's like super reactive, and she's mad. She's like, you always held my failures against me. And he's like, dude, like there's so much going on. Like your daughter doesn't want to do the bat mitzvah anymore. And she's like, I know there's just like a collective weight of everything that I'm just feeling like pressured under. And I don't even, you know, her daughter like opens up and is like, I don't even know if I believe in God. And, you know, Jesse's like, well, it's important, you know, to have a community and pass down these traditions. Like it's bigger than just that, like that. You can figure that out too. And she's like, well, I want my own traditions in my own life. Because there's no reason to fix it. It hasn't, like, nothing's broken in it. Like, this is just my life with, like, the divorce. Like, I'm not a weird person. And Gen Z is really incredible in that way. I think, honestly, she's younger than Gen Z. Whatever that generation, like, that was woke. That was very, very woke to say. And Jesse's just kind of reeling. He's like, what is the chronic condition for, like, a children? You know what I mean? Like, when like there's an earthquake of like two people in love like fractured in this way. And Lizzie is like, okay, I'm just gonna be a stay-at-home mom, and you know, I'm giving up the magazine. I don't want any more assignments. She returns to that. The fact that the last name was Epstein, gotta say that. But maybe the book was written before all that, and I feel like it's kind of a common name. And so he tries to SEXT, and they like compare it to like Lizzie Kaplan like kind of peeling corn, and Jesse's trying to figure out like if she ever felt the same as him, but it's kind of like too late. Like she's staying in her marriage, and he really wants to like figure it out, and she like asks, you know, are you sleeping with, you know, Toby or whatever. But her friend like gets engaged to the husband and like won't go to the party with him, so like ends up choosing that. And they find out that somebody died with like nobody around Archer. And Lizzie kind of talks about herself like through Rachel's examples, and she's like, not being married will make you feel young. Like everything you feel like you missed out on, that you're having this like nervous breakdown about, like that is okay. Like you're gonna be able to feel good again. And she's like, I didn't know how to make choices. Like I felt like every choice I made limited other choices. And I feel that so hard in my gut. And she's like, yeah, you know, we unfortunately don't have unlimited choices. And Lizzie ends up choosing her husband, because she's like, I love him so much. Like if it kind of kills me and I have to die for it, I die for it. So I really, really like this story. It was really kind of contemporary. People called it like kind of a reverse Gone Girl. I wouldn't say that. To me, it really was more like Blue Jasmine. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's really, really good. It's very, very interesting to see with like Toby as this like spurned spouse, but then you see him kind of as also like flawed and kind of downright abusive at sometimes, like, because bitterness will change you like that. And it's a really, really nice, like, obviously there's like a lot of sadness and layers to it, but it's really, really, really good in that way. I haven't seen A Marriage Story, but it probably is similar in that. And there's a lot of, too, of like them kind of being in middle age but feeling like young still, which I think a lot of people, you know, really relate to in the day-to-day. Like, kind of like being married and being like, well, what if I wasn't? And like all the choices that you made when you're younger that you're now kind of like stuck with to deal with. But yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it a lot. It's Claire Danes' episode when you hear finally her side of the story that I think was good. For whatever reason, this is how I know that I'm kind of getting good at snuffing out abusers. I mean, I knew even my last one that I'm dealing with this whole court and everything. I knew I could sense it on him too, but I knew, even though like Eisenberg was very like compelling and stuff, I knew that there was something going on with him before like my exit at the time. But yeah, that's Fleishman's in Trouble. I have been up since 3:50, so I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm gonna end it. Thank you all for everybody who was on my live. Thank you. I hope this made sense. It's my first time kind of doing it, and this one was harder. Sometimes a lot of the film reviews I have, like, I write them in the moment. This one, because it was a newer piece, there's not a lot of like kind of structures of the episodes, so I only have like my notes to go by. I hope that I think there were some gems. Like, I definitely had some downloads, but it's obviously too, it's like I watch so many films, I don't remember all of them by this and that, but I did really want to talk about it. And if you had any interest in it, I really recommend checking it out. I will end up posting this video on my YouTube too, so you can come back, you can comment there, we can continue the discussions going. If there's any films you would like to have my opinion on, let me know. Feel free to DM me, and I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for being on my live. Bye.